I hope we're live. The stream is now live. Excellent. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching maybe the rebroadcast, I'll introduce myself first. And by the way, I should first say thank you for being patient. We had a few technical difficulties while I figured out how it was I could hack into John and Nadia's training, because I'm really excited to do this with you today. My name is Chalene Johnson, and I'm the founder of the Marketing Impact Academy. Some of you might recognize me from late night TV. I also have done a lot of fitness infomercials. I love marketing. And I always tell people the reason why I've been very successful in marketing, even in infomercials and fitness infomercials, isn't because I was like the best at fitness. It's because I really understand how to help people see that there's a possible solution, that there's something out there that could work for them, that could provide for them the relief, the solution, like something to solve their problem. And that's true of everything that I've done. So a little bit about myself so that you understand, like, okay, so what is she doing teaching us social media and what specifically regarding how I can apply this to network marketing or my own personal brand. So I've been in business for more than 30 years. I started off kind of doing pretty much everything. I went to Michigan State, graduated from Michigan State, thought I wanted to be a lawyer, figured out I didn't want to do that, tried to make a bajillion different businesses work before I realized, okay, I'm just like spinning my wheels. I'm working myself into the ground. I'm working like 90 hours a week and I'm making ends meet, but like, is this entrepreneurship? Because this isn't fun. This is really hard and it doesn't feel sustainable. And I really don't know what I'm doing. It feels like maybe I should just quit and like go back to work for somebody else because I'm working way too hard for not enough money. And it was then that I had a mentor. I invested in a mentor who basically gave me advice that I didn't want to listen to, but I knew I really didn't have any choice because he was a multimillionaire and I wasn't. And that was, you need to focus on one thing. You have to become known for one thing, and then you can slowly start to add in the other things. But you first have to be like, people have to know you for one thing. And I was very reluctant. I'm sure some of you have been in that situation. Drop a comment if you understand exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like, I don't want to pick one thing. It's too hard to pick one thing. I'm multi-talented. I'm multi-interested. I've got, all these different things that I could do. So picking one, A, I could pick the wrong one. B, I'm different. I could do all these things. I have all these different experiences. And also, what if I do pick the wrong one? What if I fail? What if I don't make as much money by just picking one thing? Like, won't I make more money by like trying to do all these different things? Won't I make more money and reach more people if I try to talk about like a lot more things? And, he just basically called a spade and said, how well is that working out for you? Basically, he just said, look at all the most successful people in any industry. Like, I'm not making this up. You have to be known for something first before you can do all the things. And so I was like, I've spent this kind of money with a mentor. I have to at least follow his advice. And so that's what I did. And I picked one. The one that and by the way, at that time, I was teaching how solopreneurship for moms who wanted to be at home with their kids, like wanted to build a business from home, a WHAM. That's what we called it back then, work at home mom. So I was kind of trying to target WHAMs, and I was trying to market this in-person seminar where I could help you come up with different ideas for your own personal brand and to start your own business. And you would pay to come to an in-person seminar. I was also selling ebooks, teaching women how to start a personal training business. I was also teaching people how to start their own fitness company. And I was also creating fitness programs at a local gym. I was creating my own workout programs. And I was really just doing that, which wasn't making me any money because it was like a way to stay in shape. I didn't study fitness. My degree is in justice, morality, and constitutional democracy. I loved fitness, but it wasn't like my passion or my purpose or my calling. I loved entrepreneurship. I loved hustling. Like, I grew up in a household where my dad was an entrepreneur. And so it was always like, okay, so how can I make a quick buck? That's how I was always thinking. fitness was like one of those things where I almost didn't feel like I belonged there because it felt like everybody in that industry knew way more than me. They were more fit, they were taller, they were more beautiful, they were more experienced, they were more poised, they were more everything than me. But I knew that I was really good at music. I was really good at figuring out how to make exercise feel fun, you know? And so when I was looking at all the different things that I was doing, I was also selling ebooks. And I also dabbled in some network marketing. And so I'm doing all of these things at once. And I was like, okay, so how do I pick the one? How do I pick the one? And the advice that I was given was pick the one that's got the best opportunity for you to make, like, to get some traction. The one that's got the most opportunity, like there's a need, the timing is right, you're excited about it, and there's some money to be made, like there's an opportunity. And so I decided to double down on fitness. That meant being disciplined enough to put all my other, like, okay, I'm doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, to put all those things aside and really focus exclusively on becoming known, being specifically online as the person who could help you make fitness reachable, achievable, fun, not so serious, not so like, eh. And I did that. That was the only thing that I posted online. It was the only thing that I focused on, and it was freaking hard. It's hard because I have extreme ADHD. It's hard because every sparkly thing that I see someone else doing, I'm like, I should be doing that too. I could be doing that. I could do that better. Maybe I could make more money at that. But again, because I'd invested in a mentor who said, do this, trust me, and do it for at least a year. Like, double down for a year and don't lose focus. And I'm not going to say I became a millionaire in the first year, but I started making traction. I started seeing steady growth. I started seeing people referring to me and like, oh, she's the one that does that program. Oh, that's the person you want to follow for at-home workouts. And before long, I started making the kind of traction that gave me the kind of momentum, really, is the only thing, and confidence to say, like, okay, this is working. This is working. It is through that process that social media, like we're talking, this is like 2004, 2005, right? That social media really started to evolve. Facebook, YouTube came along, I think I joined YouTube in like 2008. And then of course, Instagram in 2010. So when I started getting real serious about it. And since that time, I have used social media to sell millions of dollars worth of programs using specifically organic traffic. And what I mean by organic is not paid traffic. Now, to be very clear, we are at a place now where I can run paid ads, but when I say we've made millions of dollars using Instagram and specifically Instagram stories, that reference is with regard to organic traffic, meaning like free, attracting the right kind of people and attracting them so that I become known to them as someone who can help them solve a problem. I become trustworthy. I become a trusted friend. I become someone who they enjoy watching, someone who they know that I'm not going to try to sell you something, but if there's something I think could help you, I'm going to tell you about it, or that would be rude. In that time, I started, I think in probably 2012, I started teaching people Instagram. I started doing boot camp, like social media boot camps around the country. That's crazy to me that that's not like more than 12 years ago. Today, my son and I, which is also crazy to me that I'm in business with my son, we coach together tens of thousands of people on how to grow their Instagram. And more specifically, like not just to grow for vanity metrics, like how do you grow on Instagram if you want to target your ideal avatar? And how do you monetize it? Like how do I sell without feeling salesy? So John and Nadia have given me this platform to share with you guys, I think some interesting, enlightening, and exciting direction about where Instagram has been and where it's going. And I hope that I can help to enlighten some of you who are like, I'm pulling my hair out. Like something's going on. Like, I don't know if Instagram's like mad at me or if I'm doing something wrong, but like things aren't working the way that they should, and it's not fun, and I'm having a hard time growing my business. I want to catch up on some of your content, on some of your comments. Hi, you guys. How are you? Hi, Courtney. Great to see you. Oh, John and Nadia are here. The speed of trust. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, feeling like you're late to the game. I understand that you know what, actually, I'd love to have all of you answer that question right now. When you think about in this moment right now, when I say like, hey, how's it going for you in social on Facebook? First, let's go with Facebook. How's it going for you on Facebook? Just give me one word. All right, drop that word in there. Let me know how that's going for you. Now, drop a word that building. Dana. Oh, Deanna, I love that verb. I mean, that's just positive. Said somebody. I love that. Meh, love that. Is it Lori? Lori said slow. I mean, that's honest, right? Hey, that's what success looks like sometimes. Slow and steady wins a race. Quite a few meh and eh. Love, says one person. Okay, what about on Instagram? Instagram, how do you feel about Instagram? Hey, Andrew, nice to have you here. One word that kind of sums up how you feel about your business growth on Instagram today. Crickets. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about it. Now, we can talk about all the social medias. We sure can. But I want to make this simple for you. And by simple, I mean this. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's Pinterest, there's LinkedIn. I mean, there's a million different platforms. But if we're going to pick the one that across platforms, no matter what, you can talk to a YouTube expert, a TikTok expert, a Facebook expert. They're all going to tell you the sales are happening on Instagram. Even if you're blowing up on TikTok, there's a transference. Like people follow you on TikTok and then they check to see what your Instagram bio is, and they're actually having the conversations with you in the direct messages on Instagram. So regardless of where you're building an audience, the sale, the sign up, the trust, it's like the trust, the testing of your trust. How trustworthy are you happens on Instagram. How many of you is that true for you? Yeah, it's very interesting. Could that change? Of course. But today, that's where we're at. So that's where I'm going to help you. I'm going to enlighten you. And the first thing I want you to know is this, and this is a huge, important statistic. A recent survey by Metricool. Metricool is a scheduling app. Metricool did a survey of Instagram users and found, are you ready for this? Now, this is not what's being reported by Instagram. This is what's being reported by active Instagram users. Instagram Reels over a 12-month calendar year from 2022 to 2023 are down, are you ready? 76%. Reels, meaning the amount of how much we're engaging with them, the number of likes that you're getting. Do you remember, I guess it was about 18 months ago, when you could post the dumbest thing and you're like, what? Viral? Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I've got all of these views. It was crazy, right? And you could post like a really dumb reel and it would blow up. So what's happened? Well, first, I hope that you take a nice deep breath and go like, I thought it was me. It's not you. Type in the comments, it ain't me. It ain't me. It's where we are today. It's where the state of affairs are when it relates to social media. And I want to explain this to you in terms of the economy, if you will. So we are at the moment in a social media recession, which is very much like an economic recession, which means that there's an incredible supply. Everybody is creating, and we're creating in multiple places on multiple platforms. So in the past, you might have just, posted up an Instagram photo, like an Instagram carousel maybe, and that was it. Now you're posting up a reel, and then later that day you're doing like 10 different stories, and then you're trying to post a carousel the next day. And there's an explosion of people who have finally stepped out of or off of the sidelines, and they were just like, consuming content but not creating it, content creation is through the roof. The number of Instagram users has not grown listen to what I'm about to say, has not grown at the same rate that content creation has grown. So while yes, users on Instagram continue to grow up, what is outperforming all of that is a number of users who are finally saying like, maybe I should create some content. So when all those people wake up and they're like, hey, I should create some content. Now you as an individual, you've got so much more content coming at you. So let me just ask you to look at your own behaviors and your own experience. Okay. So tell me, how many of you, or tell me what your experience is when you are on, let's stick with Instagram for today. When you're on Instagram, are you thinking to yourself, I need to see more content. I want to consume more people's stuff. Or that's A, or B, are you thinking to yourself, there's so much. I'm trying to put on blinders and I'm trying not to see so much of this stuff. It's making me feel crazy and kinetic and disconnected. That's B. So are you A or B? Be honest. B. A few people said A. So far I've only seen one person said no. I don't feel like I'm seeing enough content. I want to see more content. I want to follow more people. Overwhelmingly, that same study by Metricool discovered that universally, we all feel like it's too much and I'm trying to cut back. I'm trying to take in less and create more. How many of you would say, yeah, I'm for sure, true or false? True or false? This statement, I am trying to consume less and do a better job of creating more. True or false? Is that true for you or false? Okay, good. Lots of people saying, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so now if everyone's doing it, think about it. If everyone's saying like, I'm seeing too much, it's overwhelming and I need to create more. So now what are we doing? We're reducing demand and we're increasing supply. And what does that create? A recession where the supply doesn't meet, or the demand certainly can't meet the supply. There just isn't that much of a demand. So what do we do? Okay, I'm glad you asked. Well, first of all, you just have to recognize that reality. Some good news. You don't have to post to your feed, and I know some experts are going to disagree, as often as you were in 2022. You do need to post your stories for sure, because that's where we're making that connection. But you don't need to post to your feed as often as you were in 2022. In 2022, even myself as an Instagram expert was saying it is quantity over quality. And while to some extent I hesitate to even tell you not to focus on quantity because some of you aren't producing anything, what I do want you to know is that poor quality, things that are not valuable and don't relate to your target avatar, are just hurting you. You've got one shot for people to see what it is you can provide to them that's of value. And the truth of the matter is it's tough out there, which means you need to put more thought and intention behind the content that you are creating for your feed posts. Some other really exciting news, by the way, myself and my son Brock are doing a workshop just for you, just for those of you who are in network marketing, so we can show you specifically the changes that need to happen, the templates that you can use on your Instagram stories to convert people into customers, to convert people into potential downlines, to convert people into conversations. That's the bottom line. Like, you need to have conversations. And what most people are doing right now on Instagram is what they were doing in 2022. And y'all, that ain't going to work. Well, you know that because it's not working. So we're going to do the workshop on Wednesday. And hopefully we can put that up on the screen. If not, you're going to go to our Lifestyle Academy .com/success to get signed up. It's on Wednesday. We're doing it at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if you've never done a workshop with myself and my son, My he's obviously a millennial, or is he a Gen Z? I think he's like right on the cusp. So we definitely love the way the two of us can meld together and help you to understand like what's working. This kid, all he does is study the algorithm. All I do is translate it for people who are like, okay, yeah, I don't have all day to spend on Instagram. Just tell me, what do I need to do specifically? How do I do this in a way? There's our link, mylifestyleacademy.com/success. By the way, this is not a free workshop. And that is because I personally am much more a fan of working with people who pay attention. And frankly, when you pay, even if it's only $8, people pay attention. They show up. They see it scheduled on their calendar and they actually freaking show up. Because you and I both know if there's something for free, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. You want to go rollerblading? Let's do it. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, there's that mentality like I'm going to get my return on my investment. Show up and I promise you this. I am going to give you the specific templates that I share with my paid members. I will share with you exactly what I show them, the exact templates, multiple templates of how you do this on your Instagram stories, how you create a conversation, how you create trust, rapport in such a way that people are like, have I seen her stories? Like, oh my God, I missed them today and I'm dying. What did I miss? That's the kind of content you want to create on your stories. But also, there's so many changes that have happened in just the last 3 months to Instagram, specifically because Reels views are down. There's incredible opportunity there, though, because you can grow your account without using Reels. And I don't know about you, but I don't know if I can stand one more, no offense, completely dumb Instagram reel that makes me feel like my brain is turning to cotton candy, where I'm like, that I don't know anything about this person. And or that's somebody else's voice, they're lip syncing. So number one, I don't know anything about them. I don't even know what their voice sounds like. And number two, this is so dumb. Can I have my 15 seconds of my life back? Instagram, why are you showing this to me? How many of you felt that way? Like you see some of these reels and you're like, why is this wasting my life? And then every once in a while, you come across a piece of content where you're like, okay, this is good. Who is this? What do they post? What do they have other stuff like this? Right. And then you go and look at you go back and you look at their profile and then you look at their other content. Do you know how quickly people are making a decision on whether or not they want to follow you? It's a split second. We're going to share with you what you need to do to change your Instagram bio. We're going to walk you through that. I'm going to give you a step-by-step template so that you understand that when you catch their attention, and this probably happened to some of you, like you've had something that maybe got some traction. I like to call that viral for me. So you have something you're like, okay, this is a post that's doing really well for me, but it didn't get me any followers. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you what you need to change specifically to make that happen, because it's a split-second decision. Why? Because you and I, we are no different from anyone else who's consuming Instagram content right now. And we don't have time to we just don't have time for dumb stuff. Like if it doesn't improve my life, if it's not a problem I'm trying to solve or something I want to learn more about or something I'm fascinated with, I don't care. And I'm not following. I'm not interested in a random person's life. Are you Are you a random person who you have no idea who they are, what they do, and you come across a post of theirs and they're talking about their product or what they're doing that day? Do you care? Actually, I shouldn't say that. Do you have the time, the extra bandwidth to go, oh, I should follow another person? Yes or no? No. All right, Chalene, well then how do we do it? Well, that's what we're going to show. We're going to break it all down in the workshop. I promise you. With specific examples, we're going to show you what other people are doing, other people in network marketing, other people who are building their own personal brand, the do's and the don'ts, the biggest mistakes. And it's no fault of your own. All of us, we look at what has worked in the past and we're like, okay, if that worked in the past, that's what I'm going to do. Success leaves clues. And so I'm just going to double down. The rub, however, is that the Instagram algorithm is changing at the speed of light. And so if we're doing what we did 6 months ago, and meaning you and I are the algorithm. And so if what we're interested in, if we're like annoyed by it and we don't want to see more of it, then we're dictating the algorithm. And you're going to see all of that on Wednesday. I'm excited to have you guys there. Is this applicable to Facebook as well? A little bit, sure. I think most people would agree Facebook is a great place to build community. But if we're trying to attract new targeted audience members, they're on Instagram. Once we've got them on Instagram, we invite them to join a community like this, right? I'll bet you $1,000,000 most of you found John and Nadia from Instagram. And then you joined this group because you're like, okay, I need to be a part of this. And so while there are those who teach teach Facebook marketing, we're going to focus exclusively on Wednesday on Instagram because that's the play. And for those of you who are, you're totally invested in Facebook, I think this is a really important place. This is an important training for you to understand like the right way to do it. Like, let's set your bio up the right way. Let's get the foundation in place so that when people do glance, they're like, okay, I definitely want to follow this person. I definitely want to learn more about them. I definitely want to learn what it is they have to offer. And I see a lot of you are saying, oh, I found John and Nadia here on Facebook. That's awesome. And there's always going to be those exceptions. And of course, that would be the case when we're talking here on Facebook. But the opportunity, if you see where people are moving, where people are making their purchases, where people are having those private direct message conversations, it's moving towards Instagram. And I want to teach you how you can make that work for you and build a community. And without a doubt, Facebook is about community. And that's what we want. We want people to feel like they're a trusted part of our community. So what kind of questions do you have, or what kind of things do you want to make sure that I cover for you on Wednesday? This will be very customized just for network marketers, so that you're seeing specific examples of how do I apply this for me? And I want to make sure that I'm addressing all of your specific concerns as it relates to where we are today in 2023, as we're approaching 2024. Things are moving at the speed of light. And like I said, even the trainings that I did on this topic 6 months ago, I was just going through the slide decks and I'm like, it's crazy how much of this doesn't apply. It's crazy how fast things change. You don't need to be the expert at that. And so at first, I just want to commend you for being wise enough to realize like, okay, I'm going to let somebody else figure it out. Can I just get the cliff notes? I mean, there's so many people are trying to figure it out and also grow their business. So they're trying to become an Instagram and or Facebook or social media marketing expert. And that's a full-time job. If you're doing that full-time, you can't grow your business. You can't grow your personal brand. I want to do that legwork for you and make this super simple and share with you the cliff notes. Do you have to have a specific niche on Instagram to be successful? You probably don't want to hear this, but you do. You really do. You don't necessarily have to just talk about one thing, but it has to be a niche audience that you're talking to, meaning that specifically this is what 44 to 54-year-old women who live in the Midwest and have a Christian faith and are single moms, this is what they want to hear. Now, you don't have to stay on one specific topic, but you have to be able to create content that a very specific niche audience wants to hear. Can you DM on Instagram without them following you? Most of the time, yes, unless they have their settings turned off. Posting strategies for your niche. We'll be covering that. Wait, okay, I read that one. More questions. Yes, there are always Q&As during the workshop. That's really important. Yeah, I think the Q&As are, I don't know, my personal experience has always been when I do when I stay for the Q&A, there's someone's always going to ask a question where it's like not exactly what I wanted to ask, but it's enough where I can go like, oh, that's what I was looking for. That's the nugget. I missed that site for the sign up. It's on the screen. So it's John and Nadia's website, mylifestyleacademy.com/success. Here's my promise to you. It's not a free workshop. I know you're accustomed to doing free workshops, which is awesome. That's great. This is not a free workshop. This is an $8 workshop. And the reason why is because I want people showing up who are going to pay attention. It has been my experience that people who, even if it's just $8, they show up, they take notes, and they ask good questions. And then they implement what they just learned. And that isn't that just the greatest thing ever when someone actually give somebody advice and they're like, hey, thanks, that was good advice. You seem to know a lot about this, and I'm going to apply it. I have about almost 800,000 followers on just one of my accounts on Instagram. I have another account that has 600,000 followers on Instagram. I've got multiple accounts on Instagram. So I know a thing or two about growing these accounts and doing it in a way that doesn't crush you. I run multiple businesses. So I can't live my life on Instagram. I need to use strategies that get me in, get me out, attract the right followers, the right avatars that help me to take those people and show them how I can help them build a relationship of trust and bring them off of Instagram and onto my email list where I can serve them. I'm sure many of you showed up because you probably got an email, or at least you got a notification. So it's learning how to do those things in the quickest way possible and in a way that's effective for the season that we're in, which is, frankly, as I mentioned, we are in a social media recession. Do businesses survive in recessions? The ones that are smart do. The blockbusters, the ones that keep trying to do what they've always been doing, they fail. We're in a social media recession. That just means you've got to be a top performer. You have to know that your content matters and it has to have a very specific intent. We have to be much more intentional about our content. I personally, this is my personal opinion, I'm happy about it. I could not tolerate, I mean, I did, but when we were ideally, in order to grow, you had to post like at least once a day, 7 times a week. For some people, 2 to 3 times per day. I can't keep up with that pace. I can't run my business and do that. I haven't posted myself on Instagram in over a week to my feed, but I'm making sales on my stories, and stories are so easy. So easy. Once I teach you this template, it's super easy to do this template. It is such a no-brainer. You don't have to always go on camera. It's much more interactive. It's less pressure on you. It's much more fun. It's much more real. It's much more transparent. It's much more it's like building relations. It's conversations. It's real life. I don't know about you, but sometimes the stuff that I post or we post to our feed, do you do this where you struggle? You're like, I don't know what to post. But on stories, I'm like, I'm documenting my life with a little bit of strategy. And I'm going to break down that specific strategy for you on Wednesday. Yeah. Good afternoon, Tracy. Thanks for jumping on. Do stories go to cold market? No, they do not. Stories at the moment, this could always change. At the moment, stories only go to people who are already following you. So the question is, how can we wake up the people who are already following you so that they're watching your stories? And I'm going to answer that for you. That's right. Sarah said it best. She's like, I make most all of my sales from stories. As I mentioned earlier, for those of you who just jumped on, I have a Marketing Impact Academy and I have a private Instagram coaching community. In our private coaching community for Instagram, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs who are building their business on Instagram. We're constantly pulling them to get that data and the insights. And I can tell you, 98% of sales are made on stories, not on the feed post. Yeah. And we're going to show you how. It's pretty cool. I just think it's way cooler. And it's not by posting a link, y'all. So little hint, I'm going to give you a strategy that is going to work 100% better than just sharing a link. I'm going to share with you the tactics to get in some cases, 50% more views in just 24 hours on your stories. How to wake up an audience that has not been talking to you. They just have not been responding to any of your inquiries. You're not getting direct messages. It's just purely crickets. We're going to show you how to get the action back. It's pretty fun. So I hope you guys will be there. Stories sell. Beautiful. They absolutely do, Angeline. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Stories, absolutely. Yeah. So my name is Chalene Johnson. It's at Chalene Johnson on Instagram. And I will be teaching with my son, Brock. It's Brock 11 Johnson. I think he has almost he's catching me. He has almost 700 followers on Instagram. He built his Instagram, which is going to break it down for you. He grew it over 500,000 followers in less than a year's time. You don't need 500,000 followers. You don't even need 2,000 followers. If you can get them to engage with you, if you can build a relationship with them. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that on Wednesday. So I'm really excited to have you guys there. Again, you got to get signed up now. Okay. It's $8. That $8 is going to ensure that you actually show up, you take notes, and you implement it. If you implement it, I guarantee you're going to see results. I guarantee you're going to see results. All right. So check it out. You can get registered right now by going to mylifestyleacademy.com/success. I will see you there on Wednesday. Please show up early so you can drop any specific questions you have about your situation. We're also going to put some people on the hot seat where you're going to, if you're comfortable, if you're okay with us pulling your Instagram bio up onto the screen, and we'll do a breakdown, say like, okay, here's what you need to change. Here's what we want the photo to look like. Here's what this needs to say. Here's where you're going to put, like, we will do an Instagram bio makeover live. So show up early so that you're one of those people. The link is on our screen. There it is. It's on the screen, everybody. It's probably also pinned in our comments. It's mylifestyleacademy.com/success. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to see you on Wednesday. John and Nadia, thank you for having me. And it's always an honor. You guys are such great leaders, and you've got such a great community here. You guys are great. And I will see you soon. Bye, guys.